Good morning, and thank you for joining today's webinar, Turbocharge Your Sales Team with a New Sales and Marketing Dashboard. I'm Dee Bowers, and I'll be your moderator. So before we jump into the presentation, I'm going to briefly go over how to use the webinar pane. On the right side of your monitor, you should see an orange arrow. If you click that arrow, you'll be able to toggle the webinar pane between the open and closed position. You should also see a small chat window. Feel free to type in questions throughout the presentation, and we'll answer those during the Q&A session as time allows. Now is a good time to also check your audio settings. If you've dialed in on your telephone, please make sure you've selected the Use Telephone option. If you're on your computer, please make sure you've selected the Use Mic and Speakers option. Last of all, webinar attendees will receive an email within 48 hours with a link to the recording and slide deck. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and introduce today's presenter, John Horner. John is the consulting partner within our business intelligence practice at Armanino. John combines 10 years of industry experience with 10 years of consulting experience to apply best practice industry knowledge to data warehouse and business intelligence implementations. So it's great to have you here, John, and with that, I'm going to turn the presentation over to you.
Thanks, Dee. Good morning, everybody. So today we are going to do a pretty quick walkthrough. I think the webinar is 30 minutes here, and introduce you to an application, or really a suite of applications that are targeted specifically for our sales and marketing customers. So as a firm, we often work very closely with the finance organization and the CFO. Today we're going to kind of focus in a slightly different departmental area, more for CRM, sales, marketing people, although of course this the data and the insights that we get from this is also extremely helpful for our CFO audience too. So to give you a little bit of an overview, we're going to do a quick set of slides, probably 5 minutes I would think. We'll introduce you to this particular solution, but also just where it fits in our kind of suite of solutions, talk a little bit about what this solution entails in terms of an architecture and what the process is, what some of the data elements that are included, walk through a couple of common questions that can be answered by this app, and give you some of the kind of common sales and marketing KPIs that we see out there in the marketplace and that indeed we are using. And then we'll get quickly on to a solution demo, which should last somewhere in the region of 15 to 20 minutes, giving us about 5 minutes for questions at the end. And really the demo will be a kind of day in the life of a sales and marketing manager, if you like, and really it's actually the demo is kind of designed around our own internal process here that we use within our BI practice with our sales team and on a weekly basis. So that's a little bit of an overview. So I will go ahead and do a little bit of an introduction to our solution. So some of you who've visited us before and been on some of our previous webinars may know this, but we do, from a BI perspective here at Armanino, we are constantly kind of reviewing and coming up with new solutions and new solution sets. We tend to try and build these solutions either around a particular industry sector, so the common industries that we work with, or it could be a specific line of business, which is the case here today, or indeed it could be that it is perhaps a mix of both of those things, but more targeted towards a particular technology that we see in the marketplace and that our customers use. So some examples of those are that you may have heard of before and either be using or referenced is our Dynamic Insights suite of solutions, which is a suite of 3 or 4 dashboards along with 30 pre-built Excel add-in reports and analyses, and that's specifically for our Microsoft Dynamics customer base and users. Practice Insights is something we use internally here at Armanino to help organizations such as ourselves analyze their practice in terms of consulting services and or software. So that's something that we have developed for internal use, but is also out there with some organizations very similar to ourselves. We have, earlier in the year, we did a webinar around our CFO KPI dashboard that we presented, and we also have a kind of industry solution for our high-tech bookings, billings, and backlog, which is kind of combined with dynamic insights, but we see it a little different. So today we will introduce you to our sales and marketing insights, and again, just the point here is that we're always kind of looking to come up with new ideas. Most of these things are based upon feedback that we get from our clients, issues that they might need to review. So all of these things are in constant growth and review. So keep an eye out on what the latest updates are that you're getting from us. Okay, so specifically today, what we'll walk through and in the demo is our sales and marketing app. And just to kind of highlight on the right-hand side here, this app, or the suite of apps really, is designed to cater for a number of different areas within the kind of sales and marketing department, if you like. So customer segmentation, campaign performance, web analytics, lead management, sales performance to plan, analyzing discounts, sales forecasting, opportunity pipeline, leads, how is the opportunity, how is the pipeline growing, how is it progressing, how does it change over time, sales territory management, and data management. So we can't cover all of these things today, but this is the suite, if you like. This is the full set that we are building and kind of continuing to enhance going forward. And as I say, this really started from partly from our own internal use, but partly from feedback that we get from our clients. The ones highlighted there are probably the ones that we're going to touch on most of all in today's call. Okay, so in terms of who should be here, I mean, you're already here. I think this was already on the webinar invite, but this is relevant to certainly particularly sales, marketing, anyone in that function, whatever level you are, whether you're at the C-level, VP, director, or a sales representative. This solution is designed to be used by across the organization so that everybody gets the same view of the data, if you like, and the same analysis. And certainly it's been built, we'll see in one of the next slides, that it's kind of built on Microsoft Dynamics CRM, largely because that's what we use here internally at Armanino, and of course we are also a very large Microsoft Dynamics CRM partner. But equally, this solution can be integrated with Salesforce or whatever flavor of CRM solutions that you might have as well. So, okay, so this is a kind of real quick, I've tried to keep it simple, but a little bit of it's not so much the process, more the architecture of what we've designed here, and I'll try and include some of the data elements that are here. But essentially what we're doing is connecting into in this case, our Microsoft Dynamics CRM database. As I said, it can equally be Salesforce, but we're extracting snapshots of that CRM database on actually on a daily basis in the app that I'm showing today. But more recently, we're kind of doing weekly snapshots, monthly snapshots of the CRM system, so that not only can we analyze what it is currently and what it looks like as at today or as at 15 minutes ago, but we can also review how it looked in a previous week or in a previous month. That allows us to do some analytics that typically you can't do within the CRM system itself. So sometimes usually the CRM system is a twinkling system. It changes, and it always contains the most recent set of data. So if somebody goes in and changes the amount of an opportunity, for instance, then it will represent, when you look at that, it represents the latest number. Doesn't necessarily represent what it used to be or what it was in prior weeks. So because we're taking these snapshots, we can then do certain analyses that you can't necessarily do with out-of-the-box CRM dashboards and analysis. So we then build our data mart, and typically the data that we're looking at here is, in this particular example, is opportunities, accounts, leads. We include in products and services, but it might also include campaigns, and we'll show a little bit of an example of that today. So that's the kind of data set that we're working with, and then we're able to build on top of that our interactive dashboards, self-service visualizations, and our ad hoc search and query, and get that out to the user base. As we said, it's not designed necessarily just for the high-level C-level execs. It's designed to be used across the board from reps all the way up. Okay, so what are some of the common questions answered and provided? And again, we've tried to use our weekly sales meetings as an example here. So you might be looking at, well, which sales teams and reps are hitting their quota, for example. You may or may not know that already. How much business have we closed in a particular period? What are our forecast sales for this coming month or quarter? What is the potential for upside within our forecast? How many new leads and opportunities are we generating? And what campaigns are perhaps producing the most leads? So this is not a full and complete list. There's various other things that can be answered, and we'll cover some of those in the demo, but this gives you a good idea of some of the things that we're able to do within this within the application. So on a similar note, some of the common KPIs, if you like, that we are looking at here: open leads, open opportunities, closed won opportunities, closed lost, opportunities forecast, new leads generated, and new opportunities created. And you can see that we're looking at these both from a number, a count, if you like, but also a dollar amount. And a few other ones that we're looking at as a result of some of those. Some of these are ratios, so percentage closed won, how are we doing closed won versus quarter, what's our remaining quarter, or how much are we percentage to quarter, what's the average days to close. That's an important metric to understand. How long does it take us to close an opportunity on average? How long of my, out of the ones that we haven't closed, how long have they been in the pipeline? How does that differ from the days to close? And the average days it takes to get a lead from the kind of qualified lead status into a real opportunity with a sales rep. And what are some of the average deal sizes that we are seeing. So these are just some of them, not all of them by any means, and of course this app, this suite of applications is growing all the time, week by week, so this should give you a bit of a flavor of some of the things that we're looking at here. All right, so I'm going to switch modes here and move into a solution demo process, and I'm just thinking I actually need to dive into the GoToWebinar here. So give me a second because I haven't done that. Okay, give me a second, guys. I'm just joining the webinar here. I was in the webinar room and had forgotten to join for the demo. All right, perfect. So hopefully now. Did you mute me or not? Okay, I think I've muted myself. So despite all the technical difficulties here, we are ready to go, I think.
You sound good, John.
All right, good. So I am going to start this demo from within my Microsoft Outlook here. And so this morning, and you know, so I should say this solution demo, we're kind of, as I said, we're going to kind of do a day in the life of a sales and marketing manager, and really it's a day in the life of myself. We have had to mock up some of the data and certainly protect some of the innocent. We are using an app that we do use internally, but I did mock up some of the data, change some of the data. But here I have a weekly update from report from my from the app that we have, and you can see that within this email I have an update of recent closed won opportunities that I can see, and new leads and opportunities that have been created in July 2015. So this gives me a good starting point. It gives me a breakdown of what is happening that's new, what might have changed, those kind of things. And from here I can now link into our sales and pipeline application and go and look at this in a little bit more detail. So now having looked at those new items in there, I can come into our application and you can see now we're in, I'm just in Internet Explorer here. It could be Chrome or whatever your browser is, but we're just working in a browser basis. This is an internal system that we have here, and what I've come into here is a view of sales performance. So I can begin to see immediately what our sales quota is, how are we doing to sales quota from a closed won perspective, what would it look like if we were able to add in everything that we've got in commit, and what would it look like if we were able to add in upside. So some of the questions that we talked about before is clearly in this particular diagram, again, fictitious numbers that we've put in here, but we can see that we're a little bit behind the quota. But if we were able to add in the upside that we have within our CRM system, our forecast, then we can be way ahead of the quota. So this gives you a good feel of where you're at and where you might be at. It also gives you an analysis of how we are doing by rep, by quota. Again, I cleaned up opportunity names, company names. I kind of kept the people that you might know and love at Armanino, but again, this is fictitious data, so please don't pick on them too badly if you see anything in here. It's kind of part real, part fictitious data, but again, gives you an easy way of actually looking at how you are doing from a quota perspective by rep, or perhaps you want to look at this in terms of a broader sales team. So you might have a sales hierarchy, sales organization hierarchy that you can view these numbers by. This gives you a facility of being able to look at this by team, by product group, or by the owner of the opportunity. And in the bottom section here, we have a list of the opportunities which I've cleaned up here by team, by owner, by product group, and what each opportunity that has closed won has brought into the business. So immediately we get a good view of how are we doing from a sales performance perspective. And this is kind of the first thing that we look at on our weekly meetings to see broadly from a very high level perspective, where are we, where do we lie. We then typically move on to really what's more relevant in the immediate future and from a week-to-week basis, which is our sales forecast. So here what we're doing is concentrating specifically on what we consider commit and what we consider upside. So what opportunities are we actually focusing on right now that we think we can close within this particular quarter, within this particular period? And you can see in here that we get some analytics as to how many opportunities we have in those areas, each of those areas, and what the sales amount of each of those opportunities is in those areas. Again, on the top section here, we get a bunch of KPIs. How many opportunities have we got forecast? What's the dollar amount associated? What's the average days to close of the closed won, percentage closed won versus closed loss. So lots of the KPIs that I mentioned before, we've got those shown here. And on the bottom section, again, we get a good listing of everything that we have from a commit and upside perspective. Now, we are able to make subsequent selections here and filter this down a little bit further and concentrate just on the commit opportunities, at which point we're able to kind of walk through each of these opportunities and have a discussion about what's the latest stage, what stage are we at, what steps have we got to complete this, what does it look like from a metric perspective? Is this software? Is it just consulting only? How long has this been in the pipeline? Those kind of things. When are we looking to close it? Is this the real close date? Do we need to go and change the close date and move it out? So those kind of conversations we're having, but we're using this application as a driver for those conversations. Okay, let me just struggling to sorry guys, I'm struggling to move my webinar pane here. Okay, so this is where we can look at our forecast, and we can analyze this in different ways. So I can look at our forecast by stage, by status. We have different stages within the pipeline. So it keeps the same forecast set of opportunities, if you like, but now I'm looking at it and analyzing it by different items: probability, sales team, what are the products that we might be selling in here, who the opportunities are owned by. So all of these different elements that may or may not be in your CRM system, but we certainly have them in ours. What are the accounts? What are the opportunities? What's the geography related to these? All this data can be used to analyze this. So once we've kind of walked through each of these opportunities, which is typically what we do on a week-to-week basis, we can then move a little bit further up the pipeline, if you like, and look at opportunities that are perhaps not forecasted, but are in the, a little bit further out, a little bit lower probability, but things that maybe could be moved up into forecast, and walk through some of these. So again, we kind of break this down by what we consider pipeline, and then what we consider as leads. So things that are really not yet qualified but are in our lead stage. So what is it that we can do with our leads to get them qualified and get them into our pipeline? Or alternatively, which one of our opportunities that we are not considering as forecast right now might be moved into forecast? And particularly there, you might be looking at things that are in the latter stages of a pipeline. So what have we submitted proposals for, and why are these probabilities low if we've submitted a proposal? Those kind of things. So again, your organization might be slightly different in how you consider your sales and your pipeline and things like that. But hopefully there's some things here that kind of register with you. So we'll walk through those and discuss and consider opportunities on that basis. Now, one of the other things that we do certainly like to look at here is how is our pipeline growing from in terms of new leads and new opportunities. Of course, as you're looking to sell things and close things out, you're also looking to add things in. And so this gives us a good view now of things that have been created in 2015 and where do they sit. So we can see that we've created 182 new opportunities in this example, $4.5 million worth. And we can focus in on particular periods if we want to and look at July. And that gives us a view, and the rest is just giving us a view of, okay, out of those opportunities that you have created in July 2015, where do they now sit in terms of the stage that they are at? Of course, these are fairly recent opportunities, so the stages will be will reflect that. Okay, so this kind of gives you an idea, hopefully a little bit of an idea of what we're doing here. What we can do as well is, if we want to, one of the things that we do within our opportunity pipeline is go in and drill into other applications. So for instance, when we start looking at leads, we might dive into look at campaign performance. And so within here, we might start to consider, in a slightly different application, well, what are the actual campaigns that we are running that are driving all of the leads? How successful are those campaigns compared to other campaigns? Which campaigns do we want to keep running? Which campaigns are not being successful, and do we want to perhaps ditch or revisit and modify? So what kind of analysis are we doing from a lead and a campaign perspective? How are we driving people to these opportunities? And then also within, one of the things that we tend to do within our sales forecast meeting is, this application, as you can see, is kind of pre-built. It's got some pre-built views. There's a lot of pre-built analytics within here, but it could be that I have some other questions and other things that I want to get answered within that session. And so from that perspective, we have this self-service discovery, which can take us to a slightly different view of the same data, if you like, the same app, but allow us now to build our own particular sheet and data. In this example, it's not letting me build the sheet, so I'll kind of dive into here. So I can now come in, create my own sheet, and go ahead and start to build my own visualization. I can do this by editing. I might go and pull on my visualizations, pull on a bar chart, and maybe I want to look at my sales reps, for instance. So I can look at sales rep from a dimension, and maybe I want to look at my sales to see how my sales reps are doing. And then maybe I want to look at my customers and also my sales. Okay, so now having done that, just thrown that up there, I can now start to look at each one of my sales reps and see which customers they are selling to. So by selecting or deselecting each particular sales rep, I can get to see the customers that I'm selling. So if that was a particular view that I didn't necessarily have in my app, for instance, then I can easily come in and do that analysis. Which customers have closed recent business and which reps are working with them. Okay, so from a demo perspective, I know that was very quick, very high level, but we did only have kind of 30 minutes for this. So hopefully that gives you a good high-level view of what we're doing here, and kind of move back to the slides here and just conclude. So just in conclusion, really just an introduction to some of the solutions that we have, and in particular the sales and marketing one. We reviewed some of what we include within the sales and marketing application in terms of data and the architecture of that, how that works, what it connects to, gave you some common sales and marketing KPIs and common questions that are answered, and then walked you through, albeit a brief 15-minute kind of day in the life of what we do here at Armanino and what we see some of our customers doing there as well. So I will hand over to Dee, and she can facilitate a quick Q&A session here.
Okay, we've had a couple questions coming in through the chat window, and so I'm going to get started with the first question. Does this solution consider customizations that we might have made in our CRM systems?
Yes, it does. So indeed, we've made some certain customizations to our CRM solution. So for instance, the products and services piece that we have within here, some of the metrics that we use around kind of services and billable hours and the length of an engagement, things like that, are indeed customizations for Armanino. And so we have had to customize the application accordingly. So usually what we find is there is a certain amount of the kind of vanilla out-of-the-box CRM that will work, and then we will need to work with, alongside our clients to consider what customizations they have within their system and modify our solution accordingly.
Okay, and then along that same line, can this solution be customized to fit our specific needs?
Yes, it's kind of a different version of the same question, really. But yeah, we can certainly consider what any customizations that you might have made within your CRM system, but also whatever you saw today in terms of the demo can be customized for different views, analysis that might be more applicable to your business, and so equally that can be customized as well. It can be delivered out of the box, but can be customized the way you want it. And actually, with the with the software that you are buying as part of the solution, if you like, you can make those customizations yourself going forward, and indeed build different applications either against your CRM or marketing data, or indeed other data sets.
Great. So John, we're running up against time here. Do you want to take a look at, we have a number of other questions. We're not going to be able to get to them all, but pick out a few that maybe we can answer in this short period of time, and then we'll respond to the rest offline. So if you want to just take a look and see if there's any that we can get to in this just a few minutes here.
Yeah, sure. So I'll try and cover a couple of these. So one of the questions that we've got coming in is how do you manage exchange rates? So in this particular app at the moment, we don't have exchange rates with Armanino. It's not something that we need to concern ourselves with here. So we haven't got it inbuilt within this, but we have within other solutions that we've built got exchange rates. So there's a couple of ways of doing it. First of all, then you may have that data set within your CRM system already, or if not, in other internal systems that can be integrated. And typically we would then use that, whatever those exchange rates are, against the kind of dates, the date of the exchange rate, if you like, and the related to the date of the opportunity. So that would be a way of integrating that. There is also now an easy way of kind of pulling in that external data with the software that we're using here. The Click software now has a data market where you can go and pull in exchange rate data, so that could be easily integrated. I can see one of the other questions is, can you have analytics around SaaS metrics? I think the capability to do that is there. This particular solution is designed towards the metrics that we walked through today. But again, the underlying software that we are using here certainly allows you to build applications against different sets of data with different KPIs. As I said, this is part of one of our solution sets that we have, but we have lots of other solutions that could be targeted towards different areas. So yes, you could indeed build a similar kind of application using slightly different KPIs and metrics and against a different data source.
Okay, I think if you're okay with those two questions, John, and then answering the rest of these offline, we're going to wrap up our Q&A session. I see a lot of people dropping off, and
yeah.
But if you guys have any other questions that come up after seeing this webinar, please feel free to reach out to John or Jeffrey Weong directly. Their information is right up there on the screen. And then as you exit, there's a quick survey. If you could go ahead and just take a moment and let us know how we're doing, we'd really appreciate it. Thanks so much, and we hope you have a great day.
Thanks.